This is Derek Staley with ESFIworld.com, and I am joined by Gretorp. So first of all, Andre, thank you for taking the time to sit down with us.
Absolutely.
So to start off, recently there's been a lot of debate about players being casters or casting games while they're still trying to be full-time players. So you obviously come from a playing background. Do you have any real insight into or thoughts about the situation?
I think setting rules like that is really silly and very square. There's no reason why players shouldn't go to casting and vice versa. But obviously, if you are a player and you say you're a player, you're going to be training most of the time, and casting is going to be just a side thing, a supportive type of thing. And yeah, you won't have the abilities to have the knowledge of how exactly to cast, but you know the game, and it brings a certain part of I think the strategy and the complexities of the game that normal casters can't do. And I think it's very important that we do have that synergy.
So in Season 1, you obviously casted with In Control
Yes.
most of the time. So he was still a full-time player, and you were pretty much a full-time player at that point as well. Do you really need to change your style when you're casting with somebody who's still a full-time player as opposed to an experienced commentator?
Yes, absolutely. When you are casting with a pro player, you are pretty much relegated to a support role. You have to, because when you bring in a pro player, it's silly to drown out all the the game with filler. Right? The reason why you have a pro player there is to get that competitive insight. So I think it's very important that you change very drastically based on if you have a pro player or not. And we saw that happen in NASL quite a few times.
So as I said, in Season 1, you worked mostly with Jeff. How difficult is it now when you haven't really had a steady casting partner and you've had to rotate between your different castings, different duos throughout the season?
It's been incredibly hard. A lot of people think that casting is just talking and you have to be eloquent, have to have the best game knowledge and just smoothest transitions. And a lot of people think you can develop it all together, and that's untrue. Just like StarCraft, you develop your macro, and you're not developing your micro as much, or these situations, or you develop one side of the game, long base play, and sometimes you're not ready for all the subsets of cheeses that happen from where the start to where you're really, really comfortable. And the same thing with casting. You have your analytical side where you have to go into the situations in a very, very concise way and kind of pretty fast. And another way where you're talking fast and you're building that hype, building up that excitement. And with the range of casters I had, I wasn't actually able to correctly, in my opinion, correctly hone a particular role for me as a caster.
So I guess in regards to that, did you really try to adapt to the different casters, or was it more? So it wasn't more of a point where you were doing it with the NASL, you didn't have them kind of come in and try to go with you. You tried to work with them together.
Oh, absolutely. We had LZ Gamer in there. We had Orb, both of which are very analytical commentators. So I did take a more passive role with that. I let them talk. I let them do the analysis. When we had, let's say, Total Biscuit, people that do more of the play-by-play, I can be that, analytical commentator. I can just step off everything and just be like, oh yes, Zerglings are going on here. Every single big battle, though, I can say, oh my goodness, we're going to have a battle starting up right now, and then they take it off.
So in many ways, the community right now is more focused on casters than players.
Sure.
So especially with people like Day9, Tastosis, etc. Why do you think that is, and do you think it's something we need to change?
See, it's tricky. I've been debating this for quite a long time. I think casters currently right now get too much attention. I think, when I watch football, you can listen to that muted for the most part and just hear like the crowd and everything and be just as excited because you feel that energy, you feel the vibe. And I watch football here and there when I go into like pubs and stuff like that, and I'll actually analyze that quite a bit, and I'm noticing it's just the overall feel of it. It's not necessarily like what I'm listening to the casters, it's just how it feels at the time. And I think that's why, football games like that, or sports right now, physical sports, they have a system where the casters, you don't really hear them at all. Not saying that that's the way we should go, because StarCraft 2 is very different than sports, in my opinion. But currently I think the casters are getting too much attention, and we as casters need to find a way to kind of step down a little bit and have the players shine. The problem is I don't know if we've been able to do that yet.
Do you have any ideas as far as what can be done in that regards? Because really, everybody keeps talking about it, but nobody's really had any answers, it seems.
Yeah, it's very tough. There might not be a solution. That might be the utopian theory of it all. But for now, I'm kind of stumped with it. I am playing. I'm trying to really show the intelligence of these players as much as possible, whether that be more analytical, more scrutinizing. That might be the way to do it, rather than, oh, this player should do this player, and trying to foretell everything, which is the Korean model currently. What they do is say, these are the options of this player, this is what I think they're going to do, that type of deal. And, maybe that's right. They've been very successful, of course. They're on television in Korea. But who knows? Of course, it's a very young sport.
So we're at NASL right now, the finals. We're almost at the end of day 2. So what has the experience been like for your perspective so far?
It's been really, really cool. I think NASL Season 2 finals, we put on a much better show than Season 1. We worked out a lot of kinks, and we have a ton of great casters. We have a ton of great players, and we have an electric crowd. And what more can you ask for?
So, speaking of the crowd, obviously, pretty much everything has been improved from Season 1, but one thing that is lacking, the crowd is definitely smaller.
Yeah.
Is it harder or to get as excited when you have a smaller crowd, or is it different? Is it a different experience?
It is kind of sad that we do have a smaller crowd. I've been trying to give attributive causes to it. I have some theories and things like that. I think the timing is very tough. U.S. is the majority is Christian, so a lot of times this is the holiday seasons. People are getting ready for that. Finals are closing through. The main demographics for us are college students, that age range. So, the time is tough, whereas in July, if it's summertime, you say to your friends, let's go on a road trip. We had people from Wisconsin come in for the NASL Grand Finals for Season 1. That's the type of stuff that I think is a lot more plausible in the summertime than the wintertime.
Right. So outside of the NASL, you obviously haven't really done as many of the big tournaments as a lot of the other guys here,
Yeah.
so MLG and things like that. Can you talk a little bit, though, about what it's like having the big gaps in between your guests as opposed to the guys at MLG where they'll have 12, 14-hour straight days, and kind of what the difference is there, do you think?
Wait, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, so at MLG, a lot of these guys have to cast 12 or 14 hours a day,
Sure. Whereas
you guys, you'll cast a series or two, and then you'll have a gap. Do you like that better, or do you think it's...
Well, the regular season, I will do that sometimes. We put in weeks straight sometimes of 14-hour days plus. NASL is very challenging, and we definitely have our share of very, very long days. It's probably different. Of course, this is a lot nicer for me as a caster. I don't get as much airtime, but I get to enjoy the games, which is really important to me because it's very rare that I actually go to something and I get to enjoy the games. I get to look at them and say, wow, that was so sick what this player is doing. I can follow things, and I can just really enjoy everything that's going around. And I do that at MLG, of course, but I feel like the casters are really missing out, and I hope that does get fixed because from what I hear, casters are overworking themselves at these events.
So is casting some of these big events something you'd like to pursue next year, or is it too much to do with NASL?
Definitely. No, I would love to do other things besides NASL. Russ is very open to that too. He says, hey, whatever you can do, go for it. Currently, NASL, of course, is my priority. And as I said, we are putting in, just in the regular season, 12 to 14 hours sometimes. And it can be very, very draining. It can be very mentally exhausting. So, for now, I haven't been able to fit anything in, but I have plans to work with other companies and start casting in other places.
All right, we'll be looking forward to that then. So in Season 1, there were obviously problems, self-admitted by NASL, different issues, things like that. And
Sure.
Even in Season 2, there have been issues. Even though you're not directly involved in the production, things like that, you're around everybody every day. So has that had an impact on the organization as a whole and the people that work there, or do you think everybody just kind of lets it roll off their backs?
The criticism?
Yeah.
We take the criticism very seriously at the NASL. There's a lot that goes into it. It's not like I can just go snap call and things change like that, because a lot of times people don't think about how it affects, I guess collaterally. Whether it be the players, whether it be the spectators actually expecting things, we have to always go to our base. The people that, let's say, are buying tickets, we always have to say, okay, this is what we sold them on. We can't just say, hey, you're buying something else completely. So there's a lot of different things that we had to, make calls on. And I actually do work a lot on the production side. So I do get to talk with them about everything. And I can guarantee you that we never, ever let a single comment go, brushed off. We always take it in and try to build on that.
So how do you filter out this, the random comments from the constructive stuff, and how do you really get something that's productive as opposed to just, noise?
Yeah, it's tough. One person that's helped me out a lot with that is Day 9. And of course other casters too. Turtle Biscuit has helped me out quite a bit. Diggity has helped me out quite a bit as well. And Breaky CPK, Phil, people like that. There's tons of people, casters, that have gone through the same story that myself, NASL, has gone through. And the big question is, how do we improve on this when there are so many people, or there are just people that are a lot more cynical, and the big thing is everybody has a reason for saying something or doing something. And we have to try to take a very rational approach to it. We look at it. What are they trying to get across? What is it that they're actually trying to say? And you have to read into the comments, good or bad. And I think every bad comment has a little bit of validity. Some people, of course, blow it out of proportion. Some don't even know what they're talking about. They have missed assumptions. And we have to read into that and see if that's the thing. And we do that. And I think... Wait, what was the question again?
It's basically just about how to filter out.
Okay. Yeah. So we go through everything and we just analyze it and we say, does this have good premises to support its conclusion? And if it does, we say, okay, how can we fix that?
Right. So, kind of in that regard, recently on Reddit, I don't know if it was officially announced, but you posted that you wouldn't be casting the final match. So, how did you come to that decision, and why did that really come about?
Okay. It actually seemed like a very big troll post too, because I think people interpret it as the finals, like this grand finals,
right,
which I think is hilarious. And I'm glad that some people took it that way, because there are huge trolls on there, huge cynical people, and there's nothing more that I like to do than mess with them and pinch their cheeks, man. But it was my decision to actually not cast the grand finals. Russell directly approached me and said, "Do you want to cast it?" And the reason why I said no is because the lack of synergy with a second caster. Orb is a great caster. I have a lot of respect for him. Obviously, I brought him on board. Orb was talking about that in his interview before. I really love him. Like, he's a really close friend. But I knew that our styles are, on paper, not the best to go together, because we're both analytical, right? So what ends up happening is we are actually learning on the spot a different casting method, and one that isn't going to the direction that we need to actually excel in. Other than that, I had other casters, but I didn't have enough time with them. We compare that to Season 1. There was very distinct roles. Even though me and In Control both did analytical casting, In Control would be able to call battles very well. On top of that, he was that, he lightened the mood. And when he lightens the mood like that, I can play off of him, and I can do that kind of stuff. And that's what Jake was saying. A lot of times the analytical casters are not the ones that are also funny. There are a few exceptions. Everybody realized that D9 is a huge exception and outlier. But a lot of times that's not the case, because they're saying, hey, this is what's so cool about 4 Marines going to attack this Overlord. That sounds really dull, but if I can explain to you, this is the position, direction, that kind of stuff. Wow, that's a lot more interesting. So having 2 analytical casters is very tough, and I just did not feel that I had a good partner to cast the finals that would have been better than, let's say, someone like Day 9 and DJ Weed or Husky, whatever it might be. And I took that in and said, okay, well, I did my best during the season. Unfortunately, I couldn't find the best pair. I'll let another pair take it.
So moving forward into Season 3, can we assume you'll be back for the whole season?
Of course.
Have you found a casting partner are you looking at anybody for the full season?
I am looking at someone, a couple people actually, but it's hush-hush. Can't say anything.
All right, so are there any other changes that you can talk about, or is that all still kind of under wraps in regards to format, players, broadcasts, anything like that?
This season, I'm going to be directly involved with the maps, which I'm very, very happy about. I'm going to actually choose a lot of the maps, or some of the maps, as many as possible, and I think I have the best abilities out of anybody in the NASL to actually do that. I understand. Obviously, I've casted more games than I think anybody close, maybe 2 or 3, but I've casted. I'll say I casted more games than anybody in the world right now. Within 2011. What, I don't even know what year it is. 2011. The amount of hours we put out, it's ridiculous. I think it's 1,000 hours of casting right now in 2011 alone, which is sick in the head. So there's a lot that I've done. I have seen so many playstyles. I've watched the metagames, so I know hopefully we can get really, really great maps for Season 3.
Being a full-time player, is it ever something you really kind of miss and want to go back to that,
yes.
or is it enough to the point where...
Stop you right there.
Okay.
Yes, man. I miss playing so much. Every day I go home and I'm like, I'm going to play StarCraft all night tonight. That's all I'm going to do. And then responsibilities hit. It's like, oh, I have to bathe. I have to do this. It's already 9 o'clock when I come home. There's a lot of, and of course I have to pay bills, that kind of stuff. All this stupid junk that I wish was already automated, which I should really somehow get that. But all those little things, it's really eating into me, and I'm not able to play as much. But hopefully I can participate in something like that. I actually have plans to delve more into the gaming scene. Not away from casting, but just adding on to it. We'll see if my time allows me to do that.
That seems to be a consistent theme. So you talk to people like, Day9, Artosis obviously has tried to come back. He was playing in Season 1. Do you ever get the idea in your head, maybe I shouldn't be doing this, maybe I should be going back to full-time playing, and kind of think about it, or is it more of you think reasonably about it and well, this is a better position for me to be in the community?
I think this is a better position for me. I was a strong player. I don't think I was an outstanding player obviously Hero. That guy's a freaking monster. Or Puma, Not saying that I couldn't get to that level. Don't get me wrong. With a lot of practice and determination, I think I could. But, finding the means to do that, practicing 8 to 12 hours a day, it's a lot of life inefficiency knowing that I went to college. If I didn't go to college, actually, I probably would do that. But unfortunately, I went to college. And no one wants to blow $120,000 and then go to pro gaming to make hundreds of dollars a month. Oh my goodness! But I think right now casting is good. Not only that, I can network with a lot of people, and maybe I have a role in esports further down the line. Maybe after casting is done, I can actually integrate with the management scene, and I think that would be really cool too, because not only do I have a pro gaming background, I have a very intimate understanding of how everybody feels, from the casters to the players to the audience, everybody, and I think I can make a lot of decisions. I was actually a financial consultant before actually switching to full-time casting, so a lot of these things, I have a lot of anecdotal statistics, and I think it could be a very valuable asset when we move further into the esports genre.
All right, so thank you once again for sitting down with us.
Thank you, man.
Any last words?
You know what? Thanks to everybody out there. I guess I'll focus on you. I focus on cameras all the time. Thank you, everybody out there that have supported me. And for those of you that, are a little bit more cynical, I'm going to voice this to you. I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm glad to be doing what I'm doing. I've made a huge commitment ever since 2009. I knew I was going to go into esports. I was coming back from Korea, and I said, this is what I want to do. And I said, I will work a year and then go into esports. And that's exactly what I did, and I won't give up on that. I've been doing it, and, if you think you can do it better, please prove me wrong, because we need people like you that can do it better than me. And that's all I have to say.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much.